Okay, hello my friends. It's Friday, October 11th, 2024. In this video, you're going to see just how bad casualties have been for the Russians during the war, and you're going to see some statistics that will help you understand what's going on. My name is Gerdes. I'm just a professor trying to help you understand context in the war in Ukraine. We'll start here with 1,140 Russians off the battlefield day over day, 8 tanks, 35 armored fighting vehicles, 59 artillery systems, 84 vehicles and fuel tanks. But what we also see here is 1 helicopter. And so that's new, and that is actually confirmed. I'll talk about the confirmation in just a moment. Now, the 666,000 that you saw here has been somewhat confirmed that at least the U.S. has said, a senior U.S. Department of Defense official has confirmed that Ukraine's general staff reports on Russian casualties are accurate. The Pentagon official said Ukraine inflicted more than 600,000 casualties on Russian forces. Russia suffered the most casualties in September of 2024. So we know about September. September displaced the most recent earlier this summer, but 666, let's say it's just 600,000. Now they said more than 600,000. They didn't say 600,000, but let's just say that's still a lot of casualties. Okay. Confirmation on the helicopter. Ukraine destroyed a Russian Mi-8 helicopter in Kharkiv. Recent reports indicate that significant Russian losses in the Kharkiv direction, 63 casualties, multiple vehicles and equipment destroyed. Again, this is confirmed by the Defense of Ukraine, the official website. Okay. Losses for yesterday. This is Andrew Perpetua's list. Will come out, but not now. And maybe not today. I had to sleep last night, unfortunately. He does great work, and I'll be looking forward to seeing what those losses are when it comes out. Overnight, there were more attacks on Odesa. Russia attacks on Ukraine overnight killed 5 people, injuring 10 in Odesa. Ukrainian air defenses also worked to repel a barrage of Russian drones targeting Kyiv, the capital, with a 5th aerial attack this month. So they sometimes will hold their fire and then they'll massively barrage. Fire was breaking out from another oil tank last night before I went to sleep, but it appears that that fire has been put out now. This was the Feodosia Oil Transshipment Terminal. We saw that 4 days ago, and it was still burning 3-4 days later, and now it is officially put out, it appears. So if you watch my evening videos, that is a 3 Big Stories segment, what you'll see is that we're talking about Bob Woodward's book, and I was saying, you know, some of the things that he's putting out. Now, when Bob Woodward puts out a book, he'll leak little bits about the books beforehand, and that'll lead to more sales. So some of the things that he leaked were about negative things about Trump or about Biden or here about Zelensky. So what they said about Zelensky was that Vice President Harris was explaining to him, hey, look, it looks like Russia's going to invade. And they made it look like Zelensky was caught unaware. He wasn't caught unaware. And I've seen that in multiple sources, how he was trying to not panic the population, but still prepare. And here, I saw this morning, Andre, this may be the last time we see each other, Zelensky said while speaking to Duda, President Duda from Poland in Kyiv. President Duda says Zelensky said these words a couple of hours before the full-scale war. He wasn't unaware or caught off guard. And so there are a couple places where I wanted to push back, and people were taking me to task. Well, why are you pushing back on that thing with Trump? I wasn't. That was actually the White House press secretary saying that they could not confirm that that was a true story. So, all right, this is another one. So I'm just trying to create a clearer picture. Okay, defense intelligence update from the British, talking about Avdiivka, Procross sector in eastern Ukraine likely remains the Russian main effort and has seen high level of Russian operations over the past week. It's highly likely that Russia is continuing to set conditions for an attack on Pokrovsk. Now, why they continue to set conditions rather than take it before General Winter gets here, I haven't been able to understand. But I think I can explain it. Russian forces have partially encircled the outlying town of Seldov and will highly likely attempt to seize the town in the coming weeks. In the same sector, Russia has made gains into the center of the town of Toretsk. However, progress has been slow and Russian positions in the town are vulnerable to Ukrainian counterattacks. Okay, so let's look at this. This is Pokrovsk here, and that's their big target. If they can take that, they can really cut things off on both sides, and the Ukrainians really have to push back some. But instead of like 6 months ago, they were only somewhere out here. A month ago, this is what it looked like. And instead of going forward to Procross, they've been doing this. They've been kind of spreading out. And I'm not exactly sure, except for this is what I read. Russian forces likely seek to widen the Procross salient southern flank to smooth out the forward edge of the battle area to create more advantageous front line that connects the Russian front line west of Donetsk city closer to the Russian front line south of Pokrovsk. Okay, so I guess they're trying to make this wider so that they can attack more effectively, but by the time they get to that, it might be hard to really attack fully because of either muddy season or winter or whatever, but apparently that's the strategy. Okay, so Russian forces recently advanced in Kursk, that's inside Russia, and near Chasiv Yar, southeast of Pokrovsk and southwest of Donetsk city. Ukrainian forces recently advanced near Toretsk. So the Russians have still been taking ground in little bits along the battle space. But they've been stretched out as well. So the Russian commander Sersky was talking about this. Russia has shifted 50,000 troops from to the Kursk region. Commander of Ukrainian Armed Forces Sersky said. He noted that these forces were pulled from other areas of the front where they were conducting offenses. The redeployment has weakened Russian units in other parts of Ukraine. Now, it didn't do it near Procross, or they didn't really pull from Procross, they pulled from other areas, but it still weakened the front line. And it shifted the center of gravity to, as we were talking about yesterday, talking about Timothy Snyder's comment about it, it made it a real war. It's not just an invasion of Ukraine. No, there's Ukrainians over the border in Russia as well. Russian forces continued offensive operations in western Zaporizhia Oblast, including near Robotny and northeast of Robotny, near Malatukmaka, on October 10th, but did not make any confirmed advances. Okay, so they're trying to do that here. And then I saw this and I thought it was really interesting. So Russian Milblogers are usually really accurate. They're really focused on what's going on. You can't get real news from the Russian Ministry of Defense, but you can get it from Milblogers. Well, that changed here the other day. Russian Milblogers complained that local Russian commanders are falsely claiming advances in eastern Ukraine. As a result, they say Russian artillery and air power is not striking settlements that are in reality still held by Ukraine, causing unnecessary Russian casualties. And we're going to talk about how many Russian casualties there are in just a moment. A few days ago, Russian pro-war telegram channels reported that there had been significant advances of the Russian armed forces near Seversk in recent days. Now, they're usually really accurate. So what happened? However, Russian Milblogers now admit that these claims were false. The military informant channel says it's reported the appearance of data on non-existent advancement that was connected with manipulations of local leadership. So the local hierarchy was trying to get them to say things that weren't true. Which was engaged in flag sticking where there were no real major successes of the Russian armed forces, with the aim of forming fictitious media victories and sending victorious reports to the top. That's what an authoritarian system wants. They want good news. So if we can, make this up, except when you make it up, it's not real. In a more detailed report, Rybar comments that the claims of advances have nothing to do with reality. So this kind of thing does happen. It usually doesn't happen with Russian Milblogers, though. Okay, so I saw this and I thought, wow, this is really interesting. Sergei Sunleny, I was just on an interview with him just a few days ago, if you go back a few days on his channel. Russian mortality rates for males in Russia different age groups. 2019 is 100%. We see a huge increase of conscript age mortality in 2022, more in 2023. I guess 2024 is even higher. I'm sure it will be. Notice the decline of mortality of non-conscript age. I guess due to removal of dangerous males. Now, I went to Google Translate with this, and this is what it says. Mortality rate of men in 2023 as opposed to like baseline, right? Look at age 20 to 24, 25 to 29, 30, all the way down to 50. That's a lot of change, right? Okay, so the statistics aren't lying. Here's some more statistics. Ukraine at the OSCE. Russia loses 1 soldier for every 2.5 square meters it captures. Just to put that in context, it's like this a soldier lost for the size of the room that I'm sitting in. That's what Russia is losing. 1 soldier for every 2.5 square meters. Wow. Okay. That's just phenomenal. Meanwhile, in Russia, like the rest of the state-controlled media, state TV show 60 Minutes dissed Bob Woodward and he derided his new book, War. Okay, now I just took a punch at Bob Woodward's book because there were some things that were factually incorrect as well. But it gets even weirder. Russian state media is quoting CNN, which is quoting Russian state media, which is just bizarre. Hurts my head to even think about. Okay, Russia erects another Stalin monument. They really like Stalin monuments now. It's in vogue. And it's not because of a Marxist ideology, but because of the authoritarian, the strongman image. And I read, I think it was about 6 months ago, it might have been upwards of a year ago, that of the 110, I believe the figures were 110 and 90 at the time, of the 110 or so monuments to Stalin erected in the Soviet Union, 90 or more have been erected since Putin took office. So Putin's using the Stalin image as a strongman to see this is how mighty Russia is. Okay, in just 2 months rather, 200 Russian reconnaissance drones were intercepted by Ukrainian drones. You know, I like to see this drone-on-drone warfare. I find it really interesting. Well, they're knocking out a lot of them with these very small drones. You can just hit it the right way, blow it up or whatever, and yep, there's a lot of them. Okay. Yesterday was Happy Taiwan National Day, and I saw this image and I thought, yeah, you know, this kind of looks like what happened with Ukraine as well. And just replace this with the Russian flag and the Ukrainian flag, and you kind of get a sense of what's actually happening here. Okay, last little bit I'll leave you with, just a quote. The true soldier fights not because he hates what's in front of him, but because he loves what's behind him. And that's the difference between the Russian conscripts dying every 2.5 meters because they're essentially mercenaries for a cause that's not their own, and the Ukrainian soldier who is protecting his family. All right, my friends, that's all that I have here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, the coffees. Thank you for the membership and patronage. Thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.